It's Justice again here from tutorialscamp.com. So let's cover environment setup in what in Flutter, right? So we are just getting we are still on move to what on the Dart programming language, right? So before you can actually code anything on your system, you need to set up environment for it, because before you can get the SDK and then the documentation of that particular programming language, and then use it to develop your application. But in what we are going to do is that within that, right, there is an online environment that you can actually code that applications, and also you can set up a local environment which will run on your laptop personally without needing an internet connection. Okay, but since we are actually not going to be creating any special data application, right, instead of setting up a local environment, I'm rather going to be using the online environment, and then teach you how to teach you about that. Because I guess even if we set up that environment now on our system, we are not going to be using it, right? When we install Flutter comes with that already. Okay, it gives you the data SDK, but you cannot the functionality that the part that Flutter comes with, you cannot actually run it as a standalone application using that. Okay, what I mean by that is that if you download the Flutter SDK alone, right, it doesn't mean you have gotten that set up on your system. No, that's what I mean. Okay, because for that you need to install that, and then set up environment in your application, your operating system first, right? But since we are not going to be using that to develop any kind of special application on its own, let's just use the online environment, right? But if you want to set up that on your system, it's okay, that's for you. Okay, it's okay, but you will not be needing it. So it's okay, you can go to that, and then the Dart film, and then the Dart home page, and then follow the instruction to set up on your system. That's mosquito. So what I want to show you is that, so we have dartpad here. Okay, it's an online environment for developing Dart applications. And if you don't want this online environment, if you want everything on your system, you can follow this the Dart home page. Okay, you can, let me see if I can get the setup tutorials on how you can set up that on your system for you. Everything about that is here. Okay, these guys, they are the one who created the Dart application, so all the documentation you can find everything here. So anything that you don't understand, you can come to this website dart.dev, and then actually read it, and then get some clear understanding of it. Okay, yeah, because as a programmer, sometimes you need to research certain things on your own. Okay, it's not everything that somebody is going to teach you. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. So you need to, sometimes some APIs you need to figure them out yourself, and then use them in your application. So yeah, that's the catch up. Let me see if I can get what I'm looking for you. Okay, let me check here. That's environment. Let me get it for you here. You need to download that first, and then install it. When you install it, you just set up environment. Okay, 3 procedures you need to follow. 1, download that. 2nd, install it in your system. And then 3rd, set up a environment path for the data installed, that language that you have installed in your system. Set up that environment for it before you can actually use it. Okay, if you don't set up an environment for it, you can't use it. It's just like Java. Okay, if you download Java, install Java, you need to set up uh, environment for it, right? Come on, there's some mosquitoes in my room. Don't mind it. So, uh, okay, guess that the dart is decay. So, all right, I think it's here. Facing method challenges. Okay. Okay, so here it is. You can find it in the same place, right? Or you can search here, setting up get the dart SDK. Okay, so you need to download the dart SDK, right? We have different installation version depending on the operating system that you are using. So this the installation for Windows line, and we have Windows here, Mac, and then Mac OS here, right? So follow the instruction, and then depending on the operating system that you are using, what setup environment in your system. Okay, but I don't think it's really necessary to set up that environment on your system, because all right, if you prefer to, because if you download flutter will come with that already for you. Okay. Mm. So oh, but we are going to be using the online environment. Okay, let me see if I can make, okay, this thing can be a little bit bigger. I guess you guys can see. I wish I can pull this guy out. Okay, okay, this is much better now. So now this is how that actually look like, right? In the application, when you this this how that actually look like, right? So you can have a class here, or it's not really compulsory to have a class in your or that application. Okay, but just if this is a Java, then it must be mandatory to have a class in it. But that's one thing. Okay, you can have a file without what a class, as well as it contains the main method. When you run it, what it will execute the syntax in it. You get it, right? So now this main method here, think of it as a room, right? Think of it as a burden, right? And every burden, if you want to go into the burden, what do? You pass through the what the entry, the main gate, right? So this is the main gate of your what application, right? So when you start your application, this is where your the code, the gate of your application, the block of code that is inside this main method is what is going to be what executed. Okay, so you can have other classes and then create object and then point it out to them. Okay, that's it. So when you one thing you need to know is the main method. Okay, now let me explain what is going on here. This guy here is a void method is just a return type, right? Meaning this main method here is not what returning anything, right? So it just represents the data type of what this method right here. I hope you get it, right? So void means it is not what returning anything. If we do something like string, then we need to return something like my name, right? You need to return something like justice in the what in our application. If you don't return anything, the JVM will throw an error. Okay, yeah, let me mention it too. That has a JVM. Okay, it has its own JVM that runs your application for you. Okay, so the JVM is what is responsible for what running your what application. After compilation, it is the responsibility of the JVM to what go through the main method here. Okay, and then run the application. So if you were trying to ask how that finds the main method and then runs it, that's how it is, right? It has a JVM that actually what look through your application and then dogs, right? Those are dogs. I don't know what's happening at the back of that. Some dogs, they are dogs backing up. Oh, it's bad. I don't. It's around almost. Okay, now 37. All right. Just don't mind. Okay. So, uh, I don't know why I even mention of dogs this stuff, right? So what you should know is that the JVM is the one which is responsible for what running your application. Okay, yeah. And this thing here is just a for loop. We will cover it, just a for loop, right? You don't need to understand what is going on. What you need to know is this, right? Whatever broken code goes in here is what is what will run in your what application. So we can do something like print, and then let's print my name, Justice. Okay, so we use the print to print something on the what on the console. This is a function that takes in what a strange. Okay, a strange. I'll talk about strange. I know you guys, some of you are already aware of it, but because this is for even those who don't have any programming experience, I want them to also what I don't want to leave them behind so that they won't understand what's going on here. All right, so let's move on. The print it was it takes in a string, so whatever you pass in here is what is going to be what printed into your onto the screen or the console, right? So if I go ahead and then run this, click on this one right here, you can see it is executing, it is running, and you can see I've gotten justice here. Okay, so the justice that I pointed out here, it is exactly what has been pointed out here. Okay, so that's is one thing that you should know, right? So if you also run that, if maybe you didn't use the online that and you created the how do you call it, environment on your system, right? You can just type this code and then create a file and then type this code and then run it. You can decide to create a class and then show the compilation to the steps to compile it and then run your application. Okay, so guys, that's it. Don't worry about what is going on. The next video I'm going to brush it through what is going on there, right? What I wanted to show was the environment, different kind of environment setup that you can use in what you can have in Flutter. Okay, yeah. So see you in the next video, and then thanks for watching. I will see you. Don't forget, my name is Justice.